So Greg Abbott was in East Texas today talking about his Texas taxpayer empowerment. I'm here to let you know that it's bullshit. Anytime you see a push to decrease taxes, that needs to set off a alarm for you. They have been breadcrumbing the elimination of property taxes for a long time. Yes, it is about school funding, but also we need to understand that it's about just making living in a large city or county extremely uncomfortable. A lot of their revenue caps and rules and regulations have to do with large counties and large cities, which of course tend to be more democratic. Their goals with that is to basically just convince everyone to vote for Republicans. What they've been doing is just beating down on the local government, saying, oh my gosh, the local government is making all your taxes so high, they're so horrible, blah, blah, blah. They don't want you to have a property tax cut. They want you to pay high taxes. That's what they want, blah, blah, blah. And it's a genius strategy because unfortunately, the everyday Texan has no idea that the cities and the counties are required to fund certain things. For example, after Uvalde, when they were required to have police officers at every school, the state didn't help out with any of that funding, but they were required to do it. So they had to come up with that money even though they were unable to raise taxes to account for it or to get other funding to account for it. And remind you, the state of Texas has $24 billion of surplus right now. So the last statewide revenue cap, which again limits cities and counties' ability to bring in revenue to fund things like our roads, police department, fire department, street signs, street lights, 311, libraries, all of those services, including roads. It was in 2019. And then in 2021, they made legislation that basically says that if you're over 250,000 in a city or over 1 million in county, you cannot reduce the funding of law enforcement. AKA, you cannot reduce their salaries or their pay when you do your budgeting. And if you do, then that's going to decrease the state money that you might receive. And also it will prevent you from increasing taxes in order to recoup that money. So they're handcuffing cities and counties, again, specifically in larger counties that are democratic. That is for a reason. That is because they know the general public doesn't know enough. But we can change that by educating each other. And a creator named Howdy Politics, who I follow, I believe, here and also on Threads, made a post on Threads earlier today saying that she said that it's going to impact firefighters, which is true because the current legislation that I just talked about only impacts law enforcement. But the problem is I'm pretty sure that they're going to craft legislation. It's probably already been written to include firefighters with that. Because again, you have to think, is the general public going to understand if local governments and representatives are like, okay, don't vote for this thing that protects, firefighters' pay because it's just going to fuck you on the other side. We need to stop, wait, and demand better governing. No, they're not, because God bless you if you stayed here long enough to hear this video. So the attention spans of Texans and everyone, it's not just Texans, but everyone is just, it's not there anymore. So we need to have a significant action plan to combat all of their bullshit and also educate Texans. And remember, this isn't like the only thing. There are like so many things coming down all at once. We have Elon Musk who's sniffing around Houston, trying to get some of our, flood district money to build tunnels underneath whatever, which he's already successfully been granted contracts to do that in Tennessee. So he's coming here. And then of course the data centers and all of this. There's stuff coming at us all at the same time. And it's able to be so successful because Texans are so ignorant of what's going on. Educating Texans is our only recourse from this. Nobody wants to talk about it because it's hard, it's challenging, and I get it, but that's our only option. They're going to continue to have good messaging because you can't come out and say, no, don't vote for a lower tax bill. They can't say those things because, again, Texans don't know enough. I fully believe that if Texans were given the information, they would make better decisions. We have to figure out how to get that information to Texans to help them understand. That needs to be the focus of the Democratic Party because the rest of this is not working. Anyways, bye.